Thank you very much. Good morning, one and all. Welcome to Abbey House for the Vale Cabinet meeting on the 11th of April 2025. It's nice to have you all here in the room and online. I have no further chair's announcements other than the emergency exits and stuff that you could cover, but I'm sure everybody is aware of the emergency exits. Although,
Yes.
Lucy,
Follow
or possibly
me.
Mark.
You can keep up.
Yeah, Lucy will definitely be quick then.
Apologies for absence.
There are none.
There are none. We have a few people online, so we need to make a note of who's online.
Would you like me to do a roll call?
The roll call's easiest.
Yeah. So if you can, the members can say whether they're present in the room or present online, that would be great. Councillor Bethia Thomas.
Present in the room.
Councillor Mark Coleman.
Present in the room.
Councillor Diana Lagova.
Present at the room.
Councillor Andrew Crawford. Councillor Andy Folsham.
Present online.
Councillor Helen Piggles.
Present in the room.
Councillor Sue Call.
If she's stuck in traffic, she will be
She'll
with
be
us
here
as
in the
quickly
room.
as possible.
Councillor Lucy Edwards.
Present online.
And Councillor Neil Fawcett.
He's dialing in.
I did see him. Okay.
He will be.
Neil, are you here? I think I did see him. But he is
Yeah.
attending online, so thank you.
Yes, he's in the chat.
He says he's present online.
Okay. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Councillor Fawcett. So appreciate that. And here comes Councillor Cole. I can just see her arriving now. So item number 3, minutes of the last meeting. Are we happy to adopt these minutes as a correct record of the last meeting on the 19th of March? Everybody, yes?
Yeah.
Happy to? Okay, I will sign those off at the end of the meeting. Thank you very much. Declarations of interest. Does anybody have any interest there? Councillor Crawford.
Yes, I'd like to declare an interest in item number 8, the Beacon Development Plan. I'm town councillor. The town council occupies some of the building, so I'll leave the room.
Thanks. Any further? No? Thank you very much. So 5 urgent business. Nothing. And 6 public participation.
No registered speakers. No.
No, thank you. And recommendations and updates from other committees. Item number 7. I believe we just had a note from the scrutiny. Was that correct?
Yes. So scrutiny committee have reviewed the Beacon
Yes, that's right.
plan and noted the progress and welcome it.
So we can go straight onto that item. So item number 8. I'm looking at item number 7, so recommendations and updates from other committees. The scrutiny committee met on the 20th of March 2025 to the Beacon Development Plan update. The committee provided their views, which are detailed in the committee minutes. They noted the progress made in implementing the Beacon Development Action Plan to optimise operation on the in-house delivery model. Members thanked officers and the Cabinet for their work on this. So that was the only note from scrutiny and other committees. So now we can go on to item number 8, the Beacon Development Action Plan update. And I believe that's being introduced by Councillor Piggles. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Thank you.
So I really am pleased to be introducing this update report on the progress of the action plan for the Beacon, which was agreed by Cabinet in February 2024. So this report is providing a snapshot review and is essentially a 1-year update on the team's 18 to 24 month delivery plan. I'm delighted to say that the team has made significant strides And during the period, they've primarily focused on the growth element of the programme, establishing the building blocks for a more professional and community engaged model of delivery, setting the stage for transformative change. So I'm going to highlight some of the key achievements from the past year, which are all detailed in the reports. So first, the council has successfully appointed key senior officers and have established robust governance structures, including project boards and core community groups, and that's both for the Beacon and the Cornerstone. And the groups include representatives from the public, private and voluntary sectors, as well as elected members. Crucially, the team is forging strong national links through meetings with Arts Council England, the Heritage Lottery Fund, Oxfordshire County Council and Historic England, laying the groundwork for a comprehensive culture, creative industries and heritage strategy. At the Beacon, a number of operational reviews covering areas like marketing, engagement and our food and beverage offer are either underway or completed, and these will drive efficiency and diversification as we move into phase 2 of the work. And you will have seen the announcement this week that they're working with a voluntary organisation to open the cafe or coffee shop for a trial period. And really looking forward to seeing how that goes. So we've seen encouraging growth in footfall and a clear latent demand for our centre's programmes with a successful autumn-winter season. The focus is now on translating this increased footfall into greater financial returns per customer, increased revenue from existing activities and higher margins through efficiency. And these elements will be crucial in phase 2 of the action plan and will be further enhanced by a capital investment plan for 2025. In summary, of the 22 actions listed in phase 1, 19 have commenced, 10 are completed or now embedded in business as usual. And we're on track to complete almost all the actions within the original timeframe. This is a tremendous achievement for the first year, considering that the senior management were not in place for several months after the cabinet report. There are, of course, a few exceptions. Decarbonisation at the Beacon is pending. An options review has been postponed due to the upcoming local government reorganisation, and the strategic context has necessitated a revised scope for our cultural strategy to better position the council for success, sector and community engagement and external funding. While this report reviews the past 12 months, officers are already working on phase 2 of the transformation plan, and this will be presented to Cabinet and will outline that's in May, or I think it's May, and will outline the pathway to our culture, creative and heritage strategy framework. It will also address strategic operational issues and a shift towards sector-led approaches, including co-production and delivery across our network of theatres, culture and heritage venues across the Vale. In God's scrutiny, I'd like to thank Councillor Mark Coleman, who sat in for me, and I did watch it back, and you did really well.
I behaved myself.
You did behave yourself. You didn't say anything that I was going to have to get out of later. Thank you to Daniel Harrison for being present as well. I'm sure you found it very helpful.
Absolutely.
We'd like to thank Scrutiny for their comments, and officers will be taking into account their thoughts and ideas, and I thought it was a very useful conversation that they had. The report basically is asking Cabinet to note the progress, and we'll look forward to the phase 2 and cultural, creative industries and heritage strategy coming forward in the future Cabinet meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. No, I totally agree. I think this is really positive news on the momentum that is that we have now with the Beacon. I think there's so many different streams going forward, and it is good to see. A positive uplift in ticket sales and footfall. It just does seem very positive overall. Does anybody have any comment? Councillor Gaver.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, a huge thank you to all officers and everyone involved in that. it looks like, yeah, I mean, just again, it's exceeded my expectations, frankly speaking, and it looks like, just such a positive change in this transformation. And again, hopefully, just again, it will turn it around, and just we will see how it's, flourishing. But again, huge thank you to everyone as well. Yeah, great work done. Thank you.
I can see Councillor Edwards online, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think key for me is two key points. First one is the phase 2 action plan, which really is how do we continue to make progress that we've already achieved and build on the success. So I think, and that will come to us at the end of May, 30th of May. So that is key. We should look deeply into that to make sure that we are making progress. But also, I do remember when we voted in the budget last year, that we effectively said that we owed officers a view as to what we saw the beacon to be. And if perhaps for people who've dialed in who might not know what I mean by that, that it could have been seen as something that was specific for Wantage, a town hall, a village hall. I don't want to be pejorative, but delivering something for people to have wedding receptions and such like that. Mm-hmm. Or it could be seen as something like the National Opera House. And clearly both of those visions would be wrong and inappropriate. And so we needed to say, what did we think it should be? And the conclusion was that we should be having an arts centre for the district. And therefore, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think I'm probably saying something that he's already said. Across, I'm going to say England definitely, but probably the UK, there are very few art centres that are breaking even, let alone making a profit. And so if we're delivering an art centre for the district, we shouldn't be really looking to say, is this breaking even or making a profit? We should be saying, what does it cost to deliver that service? And again, I like to use extremes. If we said it was 100,000, we wouldn't be having any discussion. If we said it was going to be 10 million, we wouldn't be having any discussion. But somewhere in the middle of those is how much it costs us to deliver a service. And as we start to gain efficiencies and become more effective and increase the footfall, etc., we will have a better understanding of what that cost of delivery is. And that is the point that we then need to make a really potentially hard decision to say, is this value for money for the residents? However, it doesn't all come down to money. There's also social value. And so I'm very pleased that there is a mechanism for measuring social value. So those two things, the action plan that will be presented in May is going to be key. And then an assessment on value, best value and social value are going to be critical to ensuring that we're delivering the service that we really want to be doing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think, what you say, I think going forward, the officer presented to me the idea of a sort of balanced scorecard that looks at all these aspects, and social value will definitely be something that going forward we will be looking at. And I think the other thing to bear in mind is that a arts community centre in a rural market town is never going to be the same as a city centre art centre. It's different catchment area, and with the new booking systems, we do need to be able to understand where people are coming in for, what sort of things they're coming in for. I mean, at the moment, it's fulfilling more than one role because it is acting as an art centre. It has a community function during the day, but if your children are coming in for a ballet class, is that community or is that arts? It's more. It does have the different roles, and I think that I think something you've said in the past, Mark. The people of the Vale, many people of the Vale, are not going to spend hundreds of pounds to get themselves to London to see whether it be National Theatre or whether it's Taylor Swift. But if we can give them the opportunity to see streamed National Theatre, maybe they will drive from Farringdon. Maybe they'll drive from, from Abingdon or even from Didcot, because it's an affordable event, and it will introduce people to the arts in a more accessible way. And having things like the cafe will serve the local community. But we're not saying to people in Wantage, this isn't for you anymore. We're saying it's for you and for the wider Vale.
No, I agree, and yes, I agree. I definitely heard Councillor Coleman say that. It is a stepping stone for a lot of people to go to become more involved in the arts, whether it be theatre or a performance, screenings, and I think the focus is shifting. We cannot take away, I think you said this yesterday, that our art centre is in the middle of Wantage. By that very point, it is more likely that people from Wantage are going to use it, and if we have activities on there, that people from Wantage will do that. But I won't let Councillor Edwards wait any longer, because I know, as a resident of Farringdon, she has used the facility at the Beacon for screenings and performances. So I'll pass over to you, Councillor Edwards. You've got your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I was just going to comment that it's really positive news of the way the direction of travel for this venue is moving in, and I can't wait to see the action plan in May. And I think the schedule of presentations it's had in the last year has been really, really good. And yes, as a resident of Farringdon, I have used the Beacon regularly for my daughter's ballet exams, etc. And more recently taken a carload of people over to see the Eras tour. And it was fantastic, and so close to Farringdon, great parking, not as stressful as going into Oxford City. And I can see the new theatre has a Taylor Swift tribute act as well. So well done to the Beacon for being right up there with the best venues. I congratulate you. So I think the appetite is there. I mean, I've never seen the Beacon so full and so alive as at the Eras tour, albeit like tiny screaming children and mums as well. But I think the appetite is there, and if the marketing is right and the shows are right, and I can see that the team that is in place is trying to appeal to a really wide audience, and thinking of the trends that are in place. As they say, if you promote it, they will come, and they will come from far and wide. And the new car park is fab to park in. So I'm very optimistic. I hope for a packed schedule coming forward and supporting it even more. So that was my comment.
Thank you. Will you be attending the Little Mix tribute band?
Well, I'll let you know. You might get an invite.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards.
What language is he speaking?
So thank you very much. So sorry, Sue. Councillor Paul.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to kind of say how wonderful it is just to see the success of this, but also that I don't feel that it's actually yet hit its stride. And I think we need to give it more time. It's obviously doing really well. This, as Councillor Coleman said, lots to build on. And I think before we can actually make any kind of formal decisions about the direction we take this facility, and it is wonderful, I think we ought to give it a bit more time to be able to kind of develop fully and potentially, hopefully, reach its potential. Until that time, I don't think really we are able to make any proper decisions about the kind of the where we want to go in direction. But I think to give it the most and absolute support that we can in the meantime to boost it and enable it to be continuing to be a success as it has now proved to be. So I think it's very, very positive seeing this report and also all the marketing that you see much more about it now, which is excellent. Congratulations.
So if there are no further comments, we have been asked to screen. We have been asked to note the progress made in implementing the Beacon Development Action Plan, to optimise the operation of the in-house delivery model before any consideration is given to alternative operating models. So are we all happy to note that?
Noted.
Thank you. Do you need anything? Not for a note.
No, noted.
Thank you very much. We need to get Councillor Crawford back in.
Oh, yes.
Just having a pause while we get Councillor Crawford back in the room. What's that level? Is that me? Yeah, we're now back in, Councillor Crawford.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And I believe you're presenting the next.
I believe I am. In a minute.
Thank you very much. So, Councillor Crawford, if you'd like to introduce the item on the budget monitoring 2024 to December 2024.
Thank you very much. So what we've got in front of us is the report that covers the period from April 24 to December 24, 9 months, and includes the revenue and the capital position of the council. If you recall, back in February last year, we agreed a revenue budget of 22.3 million, which increased to 23.1 after the carry forwards that have been added to it. During the last quarter, which I mean the third quarter of 24-25, the team have reviewed those budgets which were identified to be required to carry forward at year end. And these included budgets for multi-year grants and budgets for schemes covering a number of years. And these have now been moved to reserves so that the funds will be available in future years to match the spending. And this reduces the working budget to 22.7 million. And that, of course, will be further carried forwards identified at year end. The team will continue to identify them. The financial position as at the end of December 24 shows a predicted overspend on service expenditure of 891,000, and the investment income is expected to be 1.7 million above budget due to rates staying higher for longer than we expected, and therefore giving an overall position of £848,000 under the year so far. The service overspend is broken down into £537,000 relating to staffing and £354,000 relating to other areas. The staffing overspend relates to corporate services, with additional posts previously agreed but not in the budget in HR. Agency staff in corporate property, working on high priority projects which we'll know about. Finance have spent on additional resources to complete the internal audit plan, an agency to cover a procurement post. Housing have vacancies within environmental services and private sector housing teams. And finally, planning policy have a number of vacancies which are currently being recruited into. Other overspends relate to the estimated additional cost of housing benefit due to variations where the Department of Work and Pension anticipated a drop-off in claims that has not materialised. In housing and environment, where the introduction of the garden waste permits, the income in year is forecast to be 814,000 down, simply due to the change in timing of the charges, the one-off decrease, which again might be people know about. Planning are seeing higher than expected income as a result of some large one-off planning applications. Council approved on the capital side. Council approved a budget of just over £20 million for 24-25, and as at the end of December, this has increased to 27.16, and of that, 11.163 million had been spent. And the capital programme continues to be reviewed and monitored by the team, and indeed we'll be doing some more work on that in the coming months. And that's the report. Overall, I guess it's reasonably good news. We're under budget by nearly £900,000 as at the 3/4 way point in the year, and hopefully it'll be like that when we get to see the March 31st numbers.
Thank you, Councillor Griffith. As you know, I took that away as being a positive, so I was very glad to see that. Does anybody have any comments? That's a comment.
Just got one. Councillor Crawford and I exchanged a couple of emails on this. So when we were setting the budget, we in the capital we identified a requirement to fund for the Wantage Leisure Centre roof repairs, which was going to be shared 50-50, or we felt should be shared 50-50 with OCC. I'm talking about the right year, aren't I?
No,
is that the next year? Is it? It's coming to next
year. So the capital item for the Wantage Leisure Centre roof repairs was a figure that was for the coming year, 25, set in the budget. At the point where we didn't know whether or not Oxfordshire County Council was in a position to fund that 50%.
Right.
They are now.
Yeah.
So that an adjustment needs to be made to current year's budget at some point to acknowledge the fact that over £500,000 will actually be funded by.
Okay. So that won't affect this. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further comments? I shouldn't look at you straight away, but I know you're likely to ask the question.
Can I just sum up by saying obviously a lot of work has gone into this, and not just through the reporting obviously, but actually making sure that we stick as close to budget as we can.
Yeah.
Isn't always easy. It hasn't been a particularly easy year again financially. So all credit to officers across the board actually who have stuck within their budget, and given us numbers very close to what we had expected and hoped for.
Yeah, reading through that report, you can see how detailed the analysis, the ongoing analysis of it is, and the detail that is required to monitor it. Councillor Dawson, I'm sorry, I almost missed you.
Thank you. I'd like to add my compliments to officers on an excellent report, and clearly good evidence of the budget being closely managed in all areas. I know that we are again benefiting from the investment income being ahead of where we thought it was likely to be at this point. But I'm sure we've all noticed the turmoil in world stock and bond markets over the last few days, and hesitating to ask Councillor Crawford for his crystal ball. Are we going to face any risks in the final quarter from all that's going on?
I mean, obviously, the final quarter has been done and dusted,
Yes.
So the current turmoil won't impact the outturn for 24-25. As for the current financial year, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? And I'm not sure anybody's crystal ball can possibly delve into the mind of somebody who seems to be making decisions on the cuff. Across the pond, and the implications that have, it will certainly, to my mind, be quite volatile, and is likely to change daily, if not hourly.
Yes, who can say?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for asking the question, Councillor Dawson. Any further questions? No? All points? No? So again, we're just being asked to note the contents of this report. Is everybody happy to note it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So on to item number 10, the Housing Delivery Strategy Update and Action Plan for 25-26, and I believe this is being introduced by Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Chair. So this report brings to Cabinet two important pieces of work in our ongoing efforts to improve the quality and increase the amount of affordable and social housing for our residents. Excuse me. The housing delivery strategy, which was agreed in 2022, set out our general direction of travel towards achieving this and highlighted 4 key objectives, which are stated in the report and the strategy. These objectives work across a number of council areas, and this report is not just the culmination of work from one team or even one service, but highlights work in planning, corporate property, climate, housing landlord, private sector housing and affordable housing. So the first part of the report is Appendix 1, which provides a summary of the work taken on last year, completed on last year's action plan, as well as highlighting a wide range of work and information gathered from housing associations and others about the current state of housing in the district. Not only does it identify the number of new properties built, but as important how we are monitoring existing social housing, the vast majority of which is not owned by the council. So this is new information, data that we haven't previously been collecting, and so we are now able to report on. But by working with housing providers, we can support them to highlight good management practices and the work some are undertaking to decarbonise their stock, which reduces running costs as well as carbon footprint. From this, officers have then proposed an updated action plan for 25-26 in Appendix 2. As before, the actions rest across numerous areas, including work on the joint local property management and regulation of the private rental sector. Of particular importance should be noted that the actions on the purchase of new properties that the council will directly provide. By having more of our own housing, we aim to reduce spend on expensive and less than ideal bed and breakfast / hotel rooms for use as temporary accommodation. We also want to start using some of this stock for general housing. Overall, I believe that this report shows the huge strides the council has made in the support of housing since the strategy was agreed, and shows that we have more work to do in the next 12 months.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Do we have any comments on this paper? I mean, I would like to say thank you and echo Councillor Cole's thought that this is not just a housing thing, but it is right across the board, and it is a very comprehensive piece of work. Oh, I can see Councillor Fawcett has his hand up.
Hi. I just want to say I'm really positive about this paper. I think it's great to see that we're moving forward in a really meaningful way in terms of starting to build our own housing stock to help deal with the undoubted very high level of need in the district, and that we're doing it in a way which is very carefully thought out in terms of the financial side, and but ultimately will be very good value to Vale taxpayers. So thanks to everyone on the team that's got this to this point.
Thank you, Councillor Fawcett. Any further questions? If it's okay, I was just going to raise some more specific things, so maybe officers might want to. So I was just interested in one stream is identifying land parcels, and there's a pre-application. I believe there's a pre-application been approved for one of the 3 that have been identified. Is that right? And is there any other parcels of land that we're investigating?
Suzanne will know, but I believe that's right. I believe we've looked at virtually everything we have. So I think the majority have been investigated. Is that correct, Suzanne?
Yeah, I mean, Andrew might want to comment on the detail, but I understand there is one active piece of land that's being looked at. There are a number of others that have been discussed through the pre-app process with the planning officers to see what is possible. But Andrew, I don't know whether you've got any further detail you can share.
Yeah, certainly. So good morning, Cabinet and Chair. So yes, we've had a positive feedback on one parcel of the land, which we're continuing to work with the Parish Council on, and we're also investigating a further piece of land in Abingdon, and a pre-app will be submitted shortly to investigate that further. Thank you.
Thank you. That's positive news. Yeah, I think that's very positive news, and I appreciate your work into that. Does anybody else have any points to raise?
I mean, it's really positive that we're looking at our own housing, but I think, as Councillor Cole said, the most of our housing isn't council owned, and I think it's really positive that the team are now building the information bank, I suppose, to want a better word, about what's actually happening there in the existing social housing that many of our residents are in and are available for our residents. So, and particularly what their retrofit plans are and that sort of thing, which improves the quality of life of people who live in there. So, yeah, I think that's all really positive, and it's something we should not forget. You know, when we're getting, you know, obviously we have our aspirations to have our own council stock, but we most of it isn't. So, yeah, I think it's a really good initiative.
Yeah, again, that was something that I noted, and I think that's really important that we're doing that and pursuing that actively. Does anybody have any?
Just so that, I think sorry. If we're going to go to the recommendations, there is a typo, I think, in recommendation periods.
Thank you.
Do we need to raise a motion to change that, or can we just ask for an amendment to be made? Because it is just an added.
The and I can just add it in.
Yes, just read it out with an and.
I will try. So, if everybody's happy and no further comments on this report, I would go to recommendations. So, A, the Cabinet notes the latest progress against the Housing Delivery Strategy Action Plan 24-25, and B, the Cabinet reviews and adopts the proposed action plan for 25-26. Did I do it right?
I think we might need
yes, so we need
the adoption of the plan.
Yeah.
So
it's proposed. Does anybody second? Yeah, Councillor Cole. Yeah, and everybody agreed. Thank you. So now, item number 11 is the exclusion of the public. Is that correct? Down to my script. So item number 12 is a confidential matter item. So item 11 is the exclusion of the public, including the press. Now, you were going to lead me in this. Were we going to?
Yes. So are members happy to go into confidential session?
Yeah.
So in that case, we will ask. Oh, do you want to?
Do I need that to read?
Yes.
I'm supposed to read it out. I'm sorry. So excuse me for a second while I read this out. So to consider whether to exclude members of the press and public from the meeting for the following items of business under section 12A of the Local Government Act 1972, as amended on the grounds that 1, it is likely that there will be disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of schedule 12A, and 2, the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information. So the council hereby gives notice that it intends to hold part of this cabinet meeting in private to consider the following items for the reasons set out in the exclusion of the public, including the press item. The council believes that the need to consider the following items in private outweighs the public interest. Is that agreed? Yeah, agreed. Thank you.
Okay, so 30, if you could stop the broadcast, please, and then leave the Teams meeting. Because it's the final item, we won't need to restart the broadcast, so that will be the end of the public session.